Welcome to Sunday here at the SPL. My name is Diem Brandon. This is Hinduman, and today we're going to be starting off, or I guess all day we'll be here in North America, starting off today with Denial going up against top runner or runner-up from the World Championships enemy.
However, both these rosters are different from when we first started this start of the season. Well, technically, the start of the season, this all happened. Enemy is basically Khaos and PainDeViande up against Benji and Vetium.
Not many people would have expected that Enemy would keep their #1 seed at 4-0 undefeated so far, given the fact that they've gutted most of their roster. But so far, so good. It seems to be working out for them. Still, roster changes happening week to week, but we're going to see how they do today against the current tied for 2nd seed Denial.
I think this is going to be an interesting game between the two because, like we said, most of these members made up of Enemy, who made 2nd at Worlds last year, and they know each other really, really well. They played together. They probably know each other's weaknesses and strengths. Add the fact of the additional members from each roster, we could see a really interesting game here.
So my question is, obviously both teams are coming in with a very controlling captain. That's going to be PainDeViande versus Shadowq. So which of these veterans can take the group of children they found in ranked and make them work better? Because so far, they both have really extraordinary records, and they're already winning games that people would not have expected. Most notably, Enemy taking down Luminosity in the 2-0.
That's the biggest one, is the Luminosity pick. But we'll see how that plays out during picks and bans, because honestly, I want to say that on paper, I feel Denial technically have a weaker roster than Enemy after looking at this season.
Okay.
I feel Denial's performance so far, though, has been above average, but Enemy have shown even theirs has been above average, beating Luminosity, who we expected to be #1 coming into the split.
Starting off, it's going to be a Ho-Yi ban coming out from Enemy. Denial answers back immediately with Odin.
Not surprised to see Odin take it away from PainDeViande. You don't want to give him that god. It's one of his go-tos. And here's the key. Will they ban out Athena? Will they ban out Khepri to keep taking shots at PainDeViande?
Honestly, I think that I don't want to see them ban either one here, because if Khepri gets banned, they take Athena. If Athena gets banned, they take Khepri. Give one to Enemy, take one for yourself. But then again, we've seen Shadowq want to play a lot of janky supports.
Combat Corner is one of his biggest go-tos so far this season.
True.
3 games played of it so far. Interesting overall, though, is that the very contested picks between Ho-Yi, both of them played it multiple times, so that's banned away. Bellona for both the solo laners has been picked multiple times. Most noticeable, Denial has picked it up for Benji 3 times.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, across the way, Enemy's picked it up twice.
Wow, starting off with Zeus. Enemy giving that to Khaos right away. Denial Esports looking to answer back. I love the Vulcan ban, by the way. I really hope people aren't underestimating this character. In this current meta, he is insanely strong.
It's surprising how much a very small buff can influence people's playstyle of him. Yes, the ultimate will help him out a little bit more and being a little bit faster, but his core kit is still the same. People now realizing how much effect he can bring to the game. And there's the Bellona pick for Benji, so we're going to see something different from Enemy.
I like the Bellona pick. I think Benji or Salt Machine does the best with this god in the current meta, at least in North America for me. I think of all people, he's the person that wants this god the most. So I like the fact that they picked it here alongside the Khepri. It gives them a ton of frontline and backline potential. We're going to go across the way. Rather expectedly, we're going to see Athena picked up for PainDeViande. Obviously, his go-to character right behind Khepri. He let one go through. They took their pick immediately. The only real answer here Denial had was to take Athena and Khepri and put Athena in the jungle, but that's a risk.
But at the same time, they had a priority choice because of the Zeus pick by Enemy here. It meant that Denial says they're more scared of his Khepri than their Athena. That is Athena. That's the biggest key there.
So which one of these teams is a Just on? I forgot.
Neither.
Oh, okay. Right, he was replaced by Mask. Which team is Mask on?
Neither.
Kali gets locked in for Denial Esports. That was a fun little thing that we just did, by the way.
I knew what you were doing. That's why I just was like, I'm just going to keep saying neither. Carly does get locked in for Denial. And then it's back into the counterban phase again. I expect to see Denial taking shots at Marauder solo lane for Enemy here.
Yeah.
Especially with Bellona locked in, they could try and take away his Vimana. There we go.
Yeah, I would probably take a shot at Amaterasu too. Marauder has really, really strong Amaterasu. He's played it a few times already in the Pro League. He's done extraordinarily well with the character, and given the fact that there's a Zeus on this team, shutting down his power and movement speed gains that Ami could be bringing to the table, I think is a big deal. And yes, it will be Ami.
I want to see one more mage bound coming out from Enemy here to the mid lane. Just reduce the amount of wave clear early. They've already got Carly in the jungle. Take away more magical early wave clear so they can try and get jungle pressure early on.
Raijin?
For me, Raijin's not that big. I mean, he's won 1 game.
And I love
what
that character.
What do you do?
He's really strong.
Yeah, okay, he's strong.
Oh, Soul. I always forget about Soul.
So more shots, for me, that's for the mid lane shot once again. So wave clearing mid is going to be an issue for Denial Esports now, unless they're looking. I want to see where they're going to end up going. Maybe they will go with the Raijin.
Nuwa going to get locked in for Denial Esports. Not really a surprise. We have seen Xeno play this, correct?
We have. It's been his pretty much go-to since he came on the roster. The biggest key, though, is that early wave clear from Kali Noir is very limited. Against Zeus Thor, you're going to probably lose a lot of the early game invasions, potentially lose some of these mid-harpies. So Denali are going to have to give up a lot during these early stages.
Enemy going to grab Medusa. We have a very strange lack of hunter picks so far. You see Ho Yi banned away, Medusa locked in, but that's pretty much it. I guess you can count Soul too.
I mean, realistically, when you see Ho Yi take off the table, I want to say most of the other hunters now at the same sort of level, especially with Golden Bow being available. We're seeing more of that.
Kronos, you think?
Potentially. They do have the Kali for the late game hunter to an extent with the physical side of things.
It's true.
So yeah, go with the Kronos could be an option for them here. Obviously, going to be very careful with the Athena taunt Medusa combo.
They could go a little bit earlier as well and go on her. You try to get through that early game. It's Serqet. It's going to be Kali ADC.
Oh, so a little bit of a page out of Cyclone's book. It's not like nobody else has ran this before. It's just that in competitive play, Cyclone Spin's one of the only ones that's ever brought it into the hunter role. So Serqet jungle, which once again I say it limits the mid jungle presence from Denial early on.
Yeah.
At least in terms of wave clear, so they're going to get pressured.
So far, to me, it looks like enemy should have the early game here. Denial has probably a better end game comp, just given the fact that they have Kali and Khepri on the same team, which is, let's say, I mean, you can't resurrect her, so it's going to be 9 seconds of invincibility or so.
Kali, Khepri, and then even if people get away, you've got fire shards raining down when you full build. That's going to take half your health, potentially, at some stages. It's going to be a rough one for enemy if they let them get to that late stage game. But for me, if they can keep it under 30 minutes here, then I think this should be enemy's game with the composition they've crafted.
So we got Vetium playing the Kali ADC. Is going to start off Death's Toll and Boots. Death's Toll is a little bit curious to me. This is not something that's normal in my eyes. Usually Bluestone is what's getting you through the laning phase. It's why she can also function as a solo laner.
Is that because of the double dot effect of the lash?
Exactly. You're getting the bleed and you're getting the Bluestone effect, and then a small hit from Shadowq's very safe clear. It's going to be a cleared wave pretty early, probably level 2, level 3. But he goes into Death's Toll, which means he's looking to box.
More aggressive, has more health to it though as well, which you can take that into account. Lacks a little bit of mana, as you'd expect, but you have to get those in hands off. So let's just see how the pull goes. They're going to have Shadowq pull one side, Xenotronics gets the Shining Metal through both, and it's a pretty decent clear actually on that side, about even with the bottom side of enemy.
Decent trade. The way that Vetium and Xenotronics actually traded the red buff back and forth, you saw it got pulled from the range to make sure it reduces damage, then traded away to Vetium, who's going to get the bleed off and do a little bit of lifesteal, because that does affect it in the beginning, although it's small. And then as it was getting low, gave it back to Xenotronics, who took a couple steps back to avoid the damage, and got his red buff as close to lane as possible. However, it's still weak in the lane clear, and it's going to result in, it'll result in a split. No big deal.
A little bit surprised that we saw enemies started their blue and back harpies on the right-hand side instead of taking the mids instead. By taking those mids, you're going to guarantee yourself the left-hand harpies as well and get that lead in the mid and jungle lane. But because of that, it means they're going to be splitting even now.
Speaking of leads, let's talk about Marauder. Already under half health, forced to use potions. Benji clearing the wave efficiently and getting the Ellies. In a pretty good start. Marauder, again, you just saw his health get chunked down, likely taking the bludgeon damage.
Going to be an interesting matchup. As long as he doesn't get poked out too much in the early stages, he will be able to heal up significantly in this lane up against Benji. But big key here is his Bluestone. He's got to make sure he doesn't hit Benji during that with an ability, otherwise Bluestone's going to proc. He's going to get aggro from all the minions.
So he's finally level 3 as Marauder looks like gets some experience in gold. He's not in a great position so far. You can see a very aggressive Benji keeps that damage on.
And it's the best abilities out of Marauder I've seen ever.
Okay, decent damage to Benji. Does he? I mean, he's got to continue this, but for some reason, Marauder's not moving forward.
Nope, no pressure. Meanwhile, in mid lane, Khaos and Varizial, there's nothing for them to actually take in any side of the jungle right now. So they're just holding mid and pressuring it. They should be able to go for their back harpies. As soon as this wave is cleared, pretty much, they're going to have lane control, as you'd expect.
And it won't take very long, as you can see. Actually, Scream is going towards the left side back camps. I think their timers are really strong right now. They know exactly when it's going to be coming up. And as a result, it looks like Khaos and Scream will be able to take away a small amount of golden experience. But check out the right side. Skeeledon's going down as well.
Yeah, because he actually going to the right-hand side here. I'd like to actually see him swing around to the full right-hand side and potentially gank the tier here, because they may not expect that. Balls are taken, though, on the left by Athena and Medusa as well, alongside Thor. So they're going to get an experienced lead once again. Enemy in the dual lane, as well as keep things even in mid for now.
Skeely's going to try for first blood here.
Level 4, though.
Marauder moves up a little bit early. Perfect Cobra's Kiss. A lot of damage coming through. Didn't even need ultimates there to get that one done. First blood, Marauder falls, and it looks like it's going to go to Serqet.
And that's the big key there, is that even if we saw Tyr Lawbringer away, Benji would have followed it up immediately with the Eagles rally.
Yeah.
They go almost is the exact same distance, I want to say.
I think they are the exact same
I feel like they
distance.
are. You can definitely reach each other as well, so it would have been a stun. Keep an eye on that.
That's obnoxious. Only taking the big harpy.
That's not obnoxious. That's just tactical.
I mean, usually you could see that on something like a blue or a red, but to do it on the harpies, that's just mean.
Denies the experience a little bit longer, especially if you don't think you're going to invade that side too much more. Talking about invasion, they're back to the left-hand side now, enemy, and 4 members are going to collapse for the red buff. No one's going to contest because they realize they're going to have to give it up.
This seems very similar to the Randozos, almost. How Denial isn't quite keeping up with enemies' ability to deal with the map, but they're winning the fights. This is exactly what happened with the Clowns.
I mean, for me, Denial have to give this up early. Look at the composition they've drafted. We said early game is not going to be in their favor. It's not their forte in this one, and it's enemy that should dominate the early stages. So as long as they don't drop too many kills, and especially with them getting first blood, it's going to help them, and probably second now.
Yeah, not even probably. That was a guaranteed kill. Skeeledon just really picking on Marauder. And Tyr is not a character of the Warriors that does well from behind. I mean, Bellona, you have Eagles Rally. You know, Vamana, you could still get to the back line in some ways. Guan Yu, you have your heal. Tyr doesn't bring anything to the table unless he's, like, unkillable.
Taunt does connect on to Skeeledon there, but it was only rank 1, and you actually saw Xenotronics very early worried about the all-in.
Well, think about it. I mean, Fire Shards doesn't really do all that much for you in team fights. It's like 70 damage. It's really better as an escape or to guarantee a kill. And with the way things have been going, it's probably not going to be a necessity. Instead of burning a cooldown that's, 160 seconds, the way Purification is, he takes the shorter cooldown, just throws it right to the wolves. I think that's a good idea.
Good decision for now. As you can see, enemy did manage to secure their own blue buff. However, on the left-hand side of things, Skeeledon's looking to invade again and going to actually get away from Varizial's Duncan.
That was impressive. The way that he used his dash and immediately jumped out knowing that Scream was coming, I love that.
He must have spotted that in the sky too, because he wasn't too far away from him to be able to hear that one. There was no wards there. He must have just seen it when he was actually going in from the back harpies.
And a free wave clear here, as you can see. Varizial and Khaos just cleaning up the mid. You'll actually notice the Scream doesn't even do any damage to the wave. He just backs, knowing that Khaos is going to clear it up. The issue is he's left him alone. He does get his backstop, but it doesn't look like they're going to make too much of an attempt here.
Can't really. Skeeledon already used his ultimate over on the right-hand side to gank Tyr, so that's still been on cooldown. Bit difficult to secure the kill.
Yeah.
One thing we've not really spoken about, PainDeViande here on this Athena went for the Purification start here. I guess really worried about the all-in.
Yeah, wow. This is a little bit strange to me. Late game, of course, if he dives in and gets hit by a Cobra's Kiss or an Eagles Rally and then allows Khepri to start doing Khepri things, there's no way he escapes. So having those Purification relics active pretty much at any stage of the game is going to help against such a aggressive comp.
A very aggressive comp. And meanwhile, you can see Shadowq gone for the shell. The main reason for the shell here, obviously against Zeus. The amount of damage that Zeus can put out in a fight is going to be insane.
Yeah.
Buff the whole team, try and reduce the damage from the detonate if possible during this, as we're shooting with Shadowq heading around the jungle at the moment.
And Shadowq going for the Jigs build, as you can see, skipping finishing boost, going right into Wingblade for a little bit of extra movement speed, and of course CC reduction, a lot of health.
Well, he's going to be getting hit by Chain Lightning, which slow as well as PainDeViande with that charge. Will slow if he connects with that one too. So he's going to have plenty of opportunities to proc that for the most part, so it's not a bad call.
Shadowq does have a Sentry Ward as well. He could clean up this attempt. Scream taken to the sky. Might be noticed. A little bit of trouble trying to protect Khaos. It looks like he will for now. They're going for the turnaround as well.
Big Khepri ult though from Shadowq. Will get him away to safety though. 5 shots came out, but the double tap from Varizial was great. However, Benji's rotation has made an impact, and the Scourge will secure the kill to trade it out.
Honestly, I would say that's pretty much even, given the fact that Scream was level 9 and died a little bit later. He'll incur 8 more seconds of cooldown, so a very small win for Skeeledon, but you also should consider the fact that Skeely was 2-0 before dying there, so there is a slight gold advantage. Either way, both teams come out with a jungler, and not a bad trade. I really like the way that Scream played that, though, stopping the resurrection right as he came up and then hitting him with the double tap for the confirm.
What I like as well is Benji's rotation. He got help early on from Skeeledon and already made an impact with that. He's got a 2-level lead, but making those rotations to mid early and making an impact in the fight. And that's what they now need to do in this early game, just to get themselves through it for when Carly finally hits stride.
Khaos facing off against 3 on the right side mid camps and actually winds up getting both. You saw that Cobra's Kiss whiff completely, just a little bit off on the timing. and gets away. PainDeViande throwing down some auto attacks there just to get that ward out of the way. That's a ward that's been sitting there for quite some time, and I think that's a really clever play because Shadowq didn't see the sentry ward placed down. So when they didn't kill that ward, they used it as a way to kind of control that space without Shadowq being able to understand that there was a ward there. He uses that to his advantage, which is why they were able to initiate in the mid lane, albeit it wasn't the greatest initiation. And then they go back and clean it up. Nice! Caught him!
In mid lane, double tap as well. Skeeledon forced to ambush away. Shadowq doesn't waste his ult there, though he holds it well. Xenotronics under pressure as the Chaos ult comes out. One hit would have been enough. Ooh. Detonate just a little bit too early. Not enough stacks.
Was it not? Was that only 2?
I think it was only 2. Though.
I don't think he would have gotten the 3rd either way, though, but that was a lot of damage. It looks like we're going to be going for Gold Fury. This is something that Enemy has been very famous for early in Season 3. A start, yeah, that
Beautiful
was quick.
Call. Beautiful call from Enemy to go over there as well. Did use the Chaos ultimate. They also had PandaCat, though, with Petrify if they needed it.
Where's
in case
he
anybody came in. But look at this. Varizial going straight mid again.
And a little bit off the mark. Skeeledon, forethought, very strong there, able to get away.
I'm pretty sure if they would have connected with that, he should have died. Purification was on cooldown as well there for him. Yeah. So he should have been a secure kill if he would have landed it. But Enemy quite happy. Let's go to the graphs and see the climb.
This is what we saw against the Clowns. I mean, Enemy, their early game has been notably very weak in fights. They have been losing most of their fights in the early game, but their objective control is, I think at this point, undoubtedly the best in North America that we've seen. Then again, we haven't seen them versus Envy or Soar yet, which I'm very excited to see.
And then they should be good games as well when we do get to those. I believe I just heard Thor just jumped into mid lane. I thought he ulted him for a second.
Did you notice Khaos' timing there? Not only did he still get all 3 last hits on the archers, but he saved it just long enough before the tower hit so that Thor could get the experience too. That's a really good play.
Well, that's all about mid lane right now. Mid lane is such a mechanical level of making sure everybody gets the farm that they need, as well as keeping yourself in a good position. Talk about position. Varizial under pressure here, tries to hold his hammer. Taunt comes out from PandaCat to stop the abduct, but it does force the purification of Varizial.
That was a lot of things used on Fez. And I mean, that was after he did so much damage to Xeno too. I mean, they rushed him down right afterwards to ensure he wasn't going to get away with it. In fact, that's the second time that we've seen him throw his hammer aggressively, and he's been punished for it, knowing that they don't have he's not going to have an escape ready to deal with it. He was forced to use his purification there in a fight where he probably didn't need to because he got scared.
Well, Bill-wise is starting to come online, both solo lanes with their Breastplates of Valor. PainDeViande, though, on that support, gone for the Sovereignty pickup, which we've seen a little bit more often over in North America than we've seen in Europe as of late. But Thor is going to the sky here. They might be looking for a fight on the left.
Check this out. They're going to rush over towards the left side. PainDeViande going to do that CC chain perfectly, but they're going to maybe not get too much. Scream's dead.
No, he's not. He's going to into the hammer. Oh, no, I'm lying because the dot damage from Shadowq combined with Xenotronics and the fire shards pick up the kill. The ult comes out onto Skeeledon to get him away from the danger of Marauder's rotation. And yet again, another kill the way of Denial.
They have been picking on Thor a lot on the side of Denial. Oh, they're going to go in. PainDeViande again trying for this.
Can they get the chain lightning damage off enough? It's going to drop Vetium very low, but it's not going to panic too much. Didn't use his ultimate either.
Xenotronics saved him there. Had he not used his minions to absorb some of the chain lightning hits, there was a chance that would have bounced back to Kali and gotten that kill. But it looks like he'll be safe for now. Kali doesn't even need to use the ultimate, so perhaps would have been fine either way.
So right now we're just basically waiting for the next Gold Fury to come up. I want to say I expect to see Denial try and contest that one a little bit better and have it warded up a little bit more now. Enemy realized an opportunity and took it and gave themselves this small lead right now. But Denial, even though they've got most of the kills, Enemy is still up in the golden experience.
Red buff dropped. No one picking. All right, there we go. He was kind of leaving that alone. Benji, another steal as he goes in and takes the boar and goes right for the Ellies as well. Marauder's been very, very quiet this game. 2 levels down.
I mean, when you get ganked early on, what can you do? Talk about getting ganked. PainDeViande forced to use his purification there in the mid lane to get him away from the danger, and I guess that's why he picked it up.
He's probably feeling good about that pickup right now, yeah.
Yeah.
Marauder trying to box out Benji, but you can see a pretty stark difference in the mana. And a slight advantage for Benji, too, considering that Marauder's teleport is still down. Granted, it's only for a few more seconds, but he was just winning that trade no matter what.
Indeed, and you can see he's actually just going to return to the jungle, Benji, and pick up that last elemental that he missed a little bit earlier on. Balls on the left being taken by Denial there. Not really spoken too much so far apart from Vetium, apart from the start of the game, but gone for the Igfal, and now looks like he's heading towards that Fatalis.
This is the build that I like to see. In my eyes, has the highest power spike and the biggest ability to actually fight into I guess, mid-level team fights. And obviously at level 12, he is mid-level. The Vitalis is going to be the hover, and it looks like probably a blink, going to be coming out. Kali, she doesn't want to use her jump to get in. She wants to use her jump to get out. So having that blink makes her get in and get out very safely.
Talk about getting in, Skeeledon goes in deep. Lawbringer force from Marauder there, but the kiss did actually miss anyway, I believe. It hit those minions, so he would have been fine, but played it safe and used the Lawbringer.
Does he use his teleport to try to block the tower? He does. This gives a pretty huge advantage to Benji. Now we'll be able to rotate freely and still have his defense.
I think on this left-hand side, so it's good you up because it looks like they're going to go in on Kali here. The full combo coming out. Force his ultimate Vetium onto the tower. Going to get a little bit of a heal here, but is it enough?
Got him. That was a really good play by PandaCat. He holds the ult knowing that he's going to have to do some kind of range follow-up. And that giant cone that's very hard to dodge, there's just no way for her to get out. There was a possibility of her getting out of there if she had just used her stun and tried to walk away, baiting a little bit more and then separating by the jump afterwards. She probably would have got another 15 or 20 feet, but she panicked, she jumped, and as a result, Vetium gets picked off.
There's a little bit of a support duel in the jungle then as well, where PainDeViande stopped Shadowq from trying to rotate in to get the ult off and try and help him out. Just cut him off in the jungle options.
Look at these guys, man. The timing on enemies' ability to go for these Gold Furies. Shadowq going to make an attempt here, but he's going to be fighting into a Zeus ult. Nuaz here, Bellona in the back line, but too little too late. Enemy takes it. Can someone find a return kill because you know Denial needs it?
Well, Benji went for the bludgeon but got taunted out. Varizial going to limp away to the left-hand side. Marauder is looking for the tier 1 tower, though.
Look at this, though. Not a single person on enemy even thought to themselves, hey, maybe we should take this fight. It's just like, everyone back off, go in different directions to make sure that we don't group up for Eagles rally, and let's just get the hell out of Dodge. We got another big objective win, and let's go to the graphs to show you just how it looks.
Perfect opportunity for them now. 3,337 gold advantage. Just over 2,000 experience as well.
You know, the more I see the calls coming out from PainDeViande, the more I start to think that them getting to Worlds wasn't an accident. Because I'm still on them getting to Worlds. It was just a weird series of events that didn't seem correct. Right, starting from the get-go, where it was.
Take into account, the fact is, we were originally going to do super regionals. We're going to be 14.
That's what I was about to say. Exactly.
6, right?
They were not supposed to be there. It was Lemony Snicket's series of unfortunate events, unless you're enemy, and then everything's great.
That is fortunate events.
Exactly.
Pretty much.
So, but you start watching this, and really, Enemy is the only team right now in North America playing Smite that the way Panthera is. Now, there's obviously a stark difference in mechanical ability between, I would say, people like Varizial and people like, obviously, Adapting. But the calls to go for objectives are very, very similar. The escapes from fights are very, very similar. And no one else is mimicking this style of play.
And let's be honest, kills at the end of the day, they're a secondary factor. It's objectives this whole game is about. Kill the Titan wins the game.
Exactly.
Getting the Gold Fury, getting the Fire Gen helps with the objectives, not the kills.
But remember, it is very early in the game. 15 minutes for this comp is not that big of a deal. When we think about Kali, we're thinking 26 to 35 minutes. At 30 minutes, she really starts to pop off. She's got her big items online. In fact, let's look at Golden Hand here. You see on the left side, Kali, 950. After this wave can back at Fatalis, and that power spike is massive.
Now, is this power spike better than the Chin's power spike? Is it because it's more consistent throughout the game once the Chins come online later?
It's equal in my eyes. The power spike is directly equal, and given the fact that it's a much cheaper item, it winds up being a lot more cost efficient. So I want to see this get picked up. After that, she's going to go right into Chins, and once Fatalis and Chins are online is when she really starts to spike. And then if she has the Iqbal for that increased attack speed, that penetration, and that power as well, she becomes a boxing machine. And really, the only person that can deal with it at this stage is going to be Bellona.
PainDeViande here, you were shooting him with him because he's hanging
team,
around that corner, waiting for Vetium to come back, looking for a taunt. The issue is there was a ward there, so he knows about this Vetium, but he's still going to get taunted anyway. Followed by a Lacerate, forced to ultimate once again. Thankfully, the new war is actually on his side.
Rotating over. Honestly, I don't like this for Shadowq. Oh, a little bit early on the ult. Dodges the Cobra's Kiss, and Shadowq wastes that Abduct, forced to cancel it, and they're going to continue the pressure on. They might be able to burn his ult too.
Because Thor's in the sky right now. Going to dunk in, not going to find it, but Khaos is there as well, looking for the chain lightning. Not going to connect. They will get the tier 1 tower here as Marauder comes around the back heavy.
Oh, Marauder. Oh.
Deleted.
Okay, Marauder. It was good to see. It spreads the poison as well. Nice guy. Winds up taking him down. Another death for Marauder, but He holds them off from backing at least.
I mean, Xenotronics at least did die then. They did trade out of town. Now they're looking for some pressure on Benji, who teleported in, already knocked below half health. Very, very low. Now they can look for a tier 2 tower here as well. It's only Vetium. He's not got ult.
A little bit over-aggressive there, considering he didn't have his ultimate available. Tower should be able to stand for now, but obviously very crippled. About 10% health left on that bad boy. And with the Gold Fury not up right now, they don't have to worry about reinitiating into a full health Khepri. They can take small jungle camps, get out of there, heal, spend some money. This is a great push from enemy.
They're doing a very good job, and I mean, it's one of the things that they're doing that's nice to see this season is that a lot of teams have overstayed their welcome a lot of time on objectives. Instead of just going, all right, we've got enough, let's back out, they try and force it a little bit too much. That time around, though, enemy, they technically could have got that tier 2 tower, but they probably would have suffered casualties.
See, that's what I'm talking about. Pain is making, or whoever is making these amazing calls of, let's go in here, all right, let's be done. We got a little bit, let's not push our luck. We'll take our little bit, and later, if we get another advantage, we'll push it again. And that's great. Now they can back, like we said. They got both mid camps. They got a few jungle camps as well. They're going to back, spend some money, and be in a pretty good position for the Gold Fury that's spawning in 30 seconds.
And the best thing coming into this game is the grudge match, technically between Benji and Vetium and Khaos and PainDeViande. Like, they were all on the same roster, and they all went separate ways, you know? They decided to divide. Khaos stayed with PainDeViande. Benji and Vetium felt they could get better elsewhere. Joined Denial, and at the moment, well, enemy are winning out in terms of objectives.
All right, guys, we're going to continue on with enemy in Denial in just a second. We're going to be throwing to a quick break. We just have a few things to take care of, and we'll be right back. Welcome back, boys and girls. Sorry about the delay. We're here with enemy in Denial once again. We've rolled the game back just a few seconds, so any action you might have missed is taken care of. You'll watch right here as enemy picks up both mid camps and backs to the base to spend a little bit of money.
So they got themselves in a good position just before the break where they took a tier 1 tower, put the pressure to Denial, realized to back away at the correct time. They were not continue overextending, even though they could have potentially got a tier 2, but maybe lost a few kills for it.
With that, it's 3-5 kills in favor of Denial, but let's, in the interest of catching you up, we'll go to the graphs. A 4,000 gold advantage, 3,000 experience in favor of enemy. That's a big deal at this stage. With Gold Fury coming up in about 40 seconds or so, you're going to note Denial must win this engagement or the lead's going to start spiraling out of control.
I completely agree. I think this next Gold Fury is very important to both these two teams. If Denial get this one, I put them exactly at even just because of their late game composition. We'll be able to get online and enemy won't go out of control. However, if enemy get the next one, like they did the last two for free, completely free actually, then it's going to get a bit too difficult for Denial to try and climb back in.
Jumping over on the left side, red buff going to be taking Gold Fury to land in just over 10 seconds. And they're going to give this red buff to Medusa. Okay, I like that.
So why would you not want to give it instead of a Zeus?
Maybe they think that Medusa's going to fight more. Maybe Zeus still has a red buff from the top side, although I probably would have wanted to see that be refreshed. But no, he doesn't.
For sure. I would have loved to see it on Zeus over and over again, especially when you check out the player damage charts. He's actually lower down than the Medusa right now, though.
And actually, look at the build. Dynasty Plate Helm, Breastplate of
Defense.
Valor, Just a Magic Focus. He's sitting on 135 power, whereas Medusa has gone into almost all power. In fact, she has more physical power than he has magical, which is something that's very rare to see.
Let's be fair as well. I mean, if you get into a fight, what you're going to focus down as Denial, you're going to focus down the Zeus first of all before you look at the Medusa. So maybe a good call from enemy to try to abuse that little situation there.
A grouping up as they take down a Sentry Ward. They're likely to lose this right away. Marauder still has one.
Yeah, Gold Fury actually being looked at right now. Ward does get placed, and the whole 5-man of enemy are here. Going to turn onto Shadowq, gets walled off from his team. A duck to the left, however, realizing the wall was behind him. Gets him away from the danger, but Benji has come in the back and started focusing Khaos. But that Breastplate of Valor helping him out. Varizial's in trouble.
Scream's dead. Yeah, they're going to catch him again. Another kill for Xenotronics as a perfect Eagles rally extends the fight. Vetium in a bad spot, though. Benji very, very low. Two people close to death as they try to take this down. That's going to be one.
You can see Khaos actually holding a detonate, waiting for those abilities to wear off. Marauder going to get a fearless off onto Xenotronics, but he's fine. PainDeViande still giving chases. Khaos trying to force him to the left-hand side. Taunt onto Xenotronics, doesn't have any escape. Has to use Sanctuary to avoid the damage from Marauder.
Winds up being a 1-for-1 trade as a jungler for Hunter taken down. Definitely in favor of enemy, even with levels. We're now going to see another attempt at this Gold Fury. Benji coming in, taking down a Sentry Ward and immediately joining the fight.
Looking for Shadowq, now does have his ultimate, abducts Marauder to stop the fearless, but still the detonate will come down after that fearless. And now with Skeeledon on the back, though, trying to go aggressive, Marauder's having to keep his work up and keep them out of this fight.
Benji does not have Eagle's Rally in a very bad spot. Dash is already down. Oh, it came up and he went in place. He decided not to try to escape as looks like Scream rejoins the fight. PainDeViande trying to come back as well.
On the way back in as well. Gold Fury still above half health here. 3 members of Denial still around, but there's some of the members of enemy very, very low, so trying to retreat. They don't want to get aggroed, so a forced reset by both teams.
It looks like PandaCat was the one to call that one away. You heard the lacerate happen in the background. And he's going to get some health back, spend a little bit of money. You can see what looks like to be a Fatalis coming out as that original, that blade coming out. I don't know, if Fatalis Wing Blade could be either one. I would assume it's going to be Fatalis.
Well, the more extra mobility will help him box out against the Kali. Keep the range is the big key there.
And remember, Medusa's passive has a full speed strafe and a 75% backpedal, so she has a lot more movement speed than Kali will in terms of boxing potential.
That's going to be the big key. PandaCat keeping himself at range away from Vetium. Varizial is in the sky, though. Going to look for a dunk potentially if he needs to.
And he blocks it out, and enemy for the 3rd Gold Fury in the game decides to just get the hell out of dodge once again.
Look at the disengage. They're all just running. PandaCat was doing a red buff there, but as soon as he saw Shadowq backed up, and now Denial, well, they stopped pressuring there and look towards mid.
That was honestly just blatant and kind of uncharacteristic tunnel vision from Shadowq. He puts himself out of position, and now look at this Skeeledon forced to burn the ult from Khepri. They're in a lot of trouble here. Marauder takes to the front line.
Blinked in, going to get the Lawbringer off onto Xenotronics as well, knowing that the ultimate from Shadowq is down. Marauder will get the kill with the Bluestone Pendant proc while he was in the sky.
Are you kidding me?
Just enough damage.
Jeez.
Another turnaround in mid.
They're going to take the tier 1 as well. I mean, this happens to me because I think Shadowq chased too far. He didn't get into mid as quickly enough. Yes, he got the ultimate off, but he didn't have peel potential.
You can see Kali jumping in, trying to get damage off, forces the ult early to try and keep pressure on her targets as much as she can, jumping after, still looking for the pick on PandaCat. They will get PandaCat, but is it going to be worth?
They're trying for it. Khaos gets a kill on the Vetium. Oh, and look at this Benji. Yeah, he's going to find another one. That's a double kill for him. So far, a 2 for 2 if you still count Xenotronics, and I do. PainDeViande's back, though, going for Shadowq.
Is it worth going for Shadowq is the question. No, they call it off in the end. Khaos going to start hitting the tower there. Notice the playstyle of Denial there. They didn't look for Khaos at all. They realized how tanky he's built this game, so they've gone for the other damage dealers. The problem is that Khaos's damage is still pretty damn good as a Zeus.
It's still Zeus. That's going to be a tier 2 tower, 3 Gold Furies, a mid-tier 1, which did not get traded. Remember, the mid-tier 1 on the side of enemy did not go down. Look at this, 8,900 gold for an 8-8 score. I mean, maybe it's mistakes. Maybe it's one game they're getting outplayed. But for me, it just looks like the enemy squad is better.
They've got themselves in a good position. This is just objective control. That's the big key. Objective, maybe shot calling is the best word to describe this overall.
Yeah.
Shot calling just seems a little bit better from enemy every single time. Comps-wise, they're very, very even in comps when you look towards mid-game. Late game, you definitely give it Denial. Early game, you definitely give it enemy.
You know, there was a time, you know, back when I would say Split 3 was happening, where Pain and Pern separated their team. It was a ton of drama. And the big thing was Pain wanted to be the shot caller, and Pern wanted to be the shot caller, and there was a lot of butting heads, and they didn't get along. And now, I mean, if you asked me back then who was in the right, I probably would have said TJ Pernicus. He was mechanically the better player. I still probably think that he is still the mechanically better player, but PainDeViande's shot calling has become transcendent to where it was back in 2013, the beginning of 2014, when we see him, go into the launch tournament playing for that old Denial squad with, him, Pon,
and credit to Pain, he's also played over in Europe at certain times of his career as well, which is one of the very rare transitions we've seen between EU and NA players actually switching regions for a while. He had a little stint over in Europe, came back to North America, and now found himself just recently in the finals of the World Championships.
It's also a really cool name if you don't know what it means.
Meatloaf.
PainDeViande. Meatloaf. PainDeViande.
Tong goes in onto Shadowq. Doty's actually down there as well, so he could be in a bit of pressure. But you saw Marauder fearless him away from the chain lightning coming out from Khaos. A little bit of miscommunication there, but they won't be too upset just yet. They're really looking for the tier 2 pressure on the left, which is at very low health.
Left side, tier 2 to get threatened. Now, we saw this before. They left this at low health and immediately gets picked off out of position, forced to ult Benji in a bad spot. They're going to go right back in. Lawbringer to the back line and not going to find the Fearless.
Awkward position right now. On the back, though, look at this. Though Skeeledon goes in, looking for the pick on Khaos, who's still so tanky. Skeeledon shoots everything on the commit, looking for the kill. He'll be surrounded and picked off as Shadowq is not around at all to give Neil.
Scream actually missed a lot of abilities there. A lot of damage actually wasted. Same thing for Marauder. Luckily picked up Stowe for enemy as they find 9 to 8 now. And it looks like they're hovering towards right side. This could be a Fire Giant gesture here. They're probably looking for the bait as you see Benji rotating over.
I think the big key for this from Denial's roster as well is that we're going to see, basically for the front line, it's only realistically Bellona they have.
Yeah.
We won't see Khepri commit. Khepri is a peel god for the most part. But Bellona, she's the only front line. Skeeledon is playing Serqet, but you can't class her as a front line in any way, shape, or form.
Marauder facing off against Benji. Benji not having a great start here. Eagles rally down for a few more seconds. Not in a great position, and they burn their sprint as a result.
And this is happening over and over again. Benji goes in, gets half health, has to base, then they turn their attention to another target. This time it's Shadowq. He's now half health, so both their tanks is already picked off and abused. Not to the point of death just yet, at least for Shadowq's sake. But it's forcing them back and giving control to enemy.
I don't want to try to put the blame on Benji there, though. They had no ward coverage here, so Benji had to move forward to see if the Fire Giant had been started. It's an unfortunate out of position that he takes as a result of that, and still, there's no wards down. You're going to see Benji have to move back into this position, although this time he does have his Eagles rally, so it should be easier.
Fire Giant wasn't reset there, it's still going. You can see PandaCat hanging around the left because he saw Skeeledon around that corner as well. Gets a nice little bit of poison damage off onto him, but it's not going to be enough to get a kill. I like the use of acid spit there just to give him some extra poke as well and force him back.
He was able to actually hit the creeps with auto attacks as well to mean a little bit more lifesteal. You can see that Aussie doing some work.
The way the fights have been played out by enemy, though, they're not going for the back line all the time. What they're doing is they're just poking down the front line, and the back line's like, well, we can't go in now. And if we do go in, we're going to be against our whole team without our tanks with us at all to help us out. So enemies just picking the fights when they want to, using their ability of being a 5-man unit and making it work well.
So there was one creep left when Benji went into the left side, and they noticed where he was going, so they decided, okay, we'll push this wave, we'll go back to the Fire Giant and see if we can make a play. Let's watch PainDeViande here as he's going to go and try to make the defense. Shadowq already wasted his abduct.
Well, they're looking to burst him down, but the Fire Giant is now gone down. Enemy get it. Varizial's going to the sky, looking to collapse.
In the back line, Skeeledon looking for a play, but they're going to take right to it. Xenotronics, gonna get resurrected.
What a great ult. But the abduct was a little bit too late for Shadowq. I knew what he was trying to do, but it didn't pay off for him. Now he's surrounded by 5 members himself, gets a good route off to slow them down.
That's it.
However, Detonate from Khaos will secure the kill, and now they can push on for mid-Phoenix.
Vetium only level 17 at this point. Does have a fair power spike with this build, but he's not at the same damage level to take down someone like a Tyr or someone like an Athena. As you can see them dashing right in. No fear. They're going to take the bird down. Do they go for another one? Do they try to end?
Well, looking for trying to end. Vetium's gone Ray into the backline looking for damage as well. The poison comes off from Skeeledon, but he falls to Varizial, and you can see that his Sanctuary is used by Khaos to absorb most of the damage he took.
3 people down. Consider Vetium down as well. There's no way that he can actually fight into this. They're going to continue their objective-based play, and they're going to go for the bird.
Pain going to zone away Vetium. No ultimate available for him on that Carly right now. Benji is here, though, with the Eagles rallies. He gets fearless as the Phoenix falls down. There's not a lot Benji can do. He'll have to get a disarm off. Still trying to survive and hold onto his ultimate. Shadowq back too, but he's not going to find anybody as retreat sound from enemy is on point.
Actually, this should probably be a kill onto Marauder. He's out of position. Oh no! Khaos is going to throw his ultimate down. In fact, PainDeViande turning this around completely. The detonate comes out. Decent damage, but they're still able to escape from that when Marauder gets out.
I love that call from enemy there, because all game they've been disengaging every single time. They're like, okay, we can't take them all, let's back out. The one time they don't do that and you think, oh god, what's he doing? Marauder's out of position. Oh. No, it was a bait.
Look at this. Dude, these guys just don't stop.
They're doing really well. Honestly, this is a really good game from enemy.
Dude, look at the graphs. It's 30 minutes into this game, and it's about to be 16,000 damage. Or, I'm sorry, 16,000 gold, which is way higher than 16,000 damage.
In fairness, when they came into this season, I rated enemy to be 7th or 8th alongside Randozo's.
Same. And
Varizial tweeted enemy saying, it's nice to be underrated because it feels so much better when you perform. And I responded with, hey, I'll give you credit if you do well. And to be fair, these guys are really playing strong right now.
To be fair, we weren't the only ones to rate them that low. In fact, enemy themselves, I'm not going to say which one, but one of their members was actually found saying that they're putting this squad together as a 7th or 8th place team because they just want to keep themselves in the SPL, and they're turning out to be the #1 seed. They're about to burn through Denial. I mean, Denial's comeback at this point has to be like Titan-level craziness.
And right now, with how enemies played this, they should win this game, theoretically, game 1. And if they do, they will stay top of the standings in North America for yet another day.
Yeah.
Fantastic performance from them so far. And to be fair, I want to give some of this down to, I guess, when I look at it, I like Danao's comp for late game, but the problem is that their front line is weak because of the Khepri. Because of the Khepri. Khepri is not an offensive god for the most part. You're there for defense and peel, but that just left Benji up front on that Bellona alone because Skeeledon can't do the same sort of thing that a Thor can do in terms of going in, providing supportive function, but at the same time, still deal damage.
They're going to call to give up the tier 2. Let's check Golden Hand real quick. I want to see where Kali is at. She is sitting 600, so she's 1,000 away from finishing up Stonecoating Sword. I would like to see her just pick up Heartseeker right now for 500 gold and try to make a defense because she needs something else because they're about to lose.
I mean, right now, Vetium's only got 8,000 damage. Is he going to jump in onto Khaos again? Khaos, very, very tanky, gets some damage onto him, but meanwhile, Skeeledon gets the pick
Shadowq. Too slow on the draw. He's going to be stuck inside of this, goes right down. Khaos getting the kill. It's going to be a 3v5 as the bird falls. And no more structures, no more objectives to be dealt with here. They're just going to win the game.
Just going to look to win this one out. Well played by Enemy. They're going to go 1-0 in this set. Will we see a difference in Game 2 is the question between these two teams. For me, Vetium didn't really get anything going with that Kali at the end of the day. I don't want to blame him for it because it's not his fault because his team never let him get to that point.
So to start that game off, it looked like things were going to go decent for Denial. Benji and Skeeledon teaming up for a pretty decent kill onto Marauder. It actually winds up happening 2 times in the very beginning of the game. But Enemy is just answering back repeatedly with these Gold Furies.
Well, the big key here is Benji got ahead, right? And that was a big point of it. Benji got massively ahead on the first blood and then the second blood that ended up happening in that lane too. But the problem is that as the only frontline god for his team, he couldn't do all the work he needed to have the fights going.
That was such an awkward position, too, for Marauder because he had just used Red Fearless, which means half of his escape is gone. He's in the middle of casting the Power Cleave as he was getting hit, which means he had no counterplay there. He just had to take the damage.
But as you were saying, the Gold Furies was where he was at for Enemy. And PainDeViande, you know, he's a shot caller for that team. He led from example for the forefront, got some big taunts off at key moments, good zoning work as well during the game. And even having the presence of mind when to go back to base, you know, and ult back into the fights for the most part, too.
But here's El Capitan putting together yet another decent squad, just leading the front line the whole time, unafraid, saving his dash the whole time, just repeatedly applying pressure, forcing them to jump in weird places, being aggressive in those early purification that he picked up, got him out of danger 2 times, baiting Skeeledon and Vetium.
That's a good point talking about the purification, because purification early on, we were like, why is he picking up purification? Well, it helped him a lot. But we did also see some plays coming out from Khaos as well.
I mean, this guy was just incredibly tanky. Zeus is a character that you should be rushing down and killing, and he ends this game with 0 deaths because of the way he played. Check out the work that Breastplate of Valor and Sanctuary just did in that fight. He's barely even gotten touched.
And well, the reason is because they can't pick him off, so they're like, let's go to the back line and try and pick them off, but it still leaves Khaos to get his stacks up, which increases the amount of damage Detonate's going to do in these fights. When they do commit to him, he sanctuaries and avoids a lot of the damage every time.
He's full health now.
Here we go. Serqet goes in. Full combo on him. Varizial with a very well-timed ult to put the pressure back on. But you can see Khaos perfectly fine. He lost a bit of health, but he's not scared to continue chasing.
He took 2 ults and the full Serqet combo and walked away from that like nothing had even happened.
He even went and, I believe they farmed mid then and then went and did jungle as well because he wasn't worried.